Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into the 143. This is Under Review coming at you live with episode 210. Nick, how are we doing today?
Doing good. Had a wonderful slate of football games this past weekend. Some overtime thrillers, and we have got the conference championships set. So we are here to get those to you.
Side of the week brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. CJ Stroud, first player in NFL history to have 5 interceptions and 5 fumbles in the postseason, as he put out an abysmal showing, as we'll talk about later. But CJ Stroud on the wrong side of history this postseason.
Yikes. Player of the week, Kenneth Walker. He put the Seahawks offense on his back, essentially. 19 carries, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns, caught 3 passes for 29 yards. Huge breakout game for him, and this is the time to have it in the playoffs as they absolutely demolish their division rival, San Francisco 49ers, at home, and will be hosting the Rams next week. So, huge game for him. Obviously, they lose Zach Charbonnet during that game, and he is most likely out. I believe I saw it was an ACL, so
he's out.
It is going to all fall on Kenneth Walker for the remainder of the games to be played, but he stepped up and showed out, and obviously these are the games when you need your star players or role players to have their breakout, so good for him on that one. 3 touchdowns, so kind of came out of nowhere as they throttled San Francisco.
Yeah, not much to say about the San Francisco-Seattle game. San Francisco's been beat up a lot recently, and they lost George Kittle last week. We appreciate their service for taking care of the Eagles, but the Seahawks came in just first play, kickoff return, touchdown. Seattle was rocking. That stadium was loud, and at the end of the day, it was just not the Niners' year with as many injuries as they had. The better team definitely won. Seattle's got a scary good defense, and they've got a good offense. Like we said, Kenneth Walker just ran away with the whole game. Didn't really need much from Sam Darnold because the game was pretty much over after the first quarter. But so Seattle taking on LA next week. But congrats to Seattle for moving on, and we thank the Niners for their service this year.
Yeah, they did what we needed them to do. They beat the Eagles in round 1, and then obviously we were hoping for them to lose, and that's exactly what they did. That Seahawk defense just absolutely smothered any and everything the 49ers had. It stinks that they did not have George Kittle, just because he is a known playoff performer. And so when you're lacking him, he is a huge piece of that offense. So to not have him just really stinks. And then they struggle to get Christian McCaffrey going, and he's there. I mean, when you don't have George Kittle, he's the only offensive weapon really that you have. Rushing Brock Purdy, force him to make bad decisions and bad throws. Opening kickoff, Rashid Shaheed took it to the crib, and the place was just bumping after that, and all the momentum was immediately in the Seahawks corner. And so it kind of, obviously that's the first play of the game, but just
they were already big underdogs.
Just felt like the game, I don't want to say
it was over,
but it was just like after that, the 49ers did not have a chance for literally the rest of the game. Felt. It was not competitive at all.
Yeah, that's how it felt. But like we said, they did what they needed to do this year. We'll see what they do next year. Bills Broncos, an overtime thriller on Saturday as the Bills travel to the 1 seed in Denver. The Bills, they come back from a 13-10 deficit and get it to go into overtime. Bo Nix played a great game, and at the end of the day, I think this comes down to Josh Allen's 4 turnovers that they had. He had 2 picks and 2 fumbles. A very, very questionable call in overtime. A deep ball to Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks goes to the ground, appearing to have the ball. It gets stripped from him on the ground by the corner. It's called an interception, given to Denver, and they go win the game. That catch would have put the Bills in field goal range to win the game. I I personally believe Brandon Cooks had the ball on the ground. I think that, it was a catch, but, the refs ruled the other way. It was 50-50, I think, but Bills fans are obviously not very happy about it.
It's
if you're the receiver, you got to hold on to it for there to be no doubt. So
it's tough
you got to hold on to that ball.
Later on, not in the same game, but you have two other games. There's a moment where Xavier Hutchinson in the Patriots-Texans game, in a not quite the same situation, but it's a moment where he's in the process of making a catch and going to the ground. Ball gets ripped out, and they call it an incomplete, or they called it a fumble. But then they go back, and it's kind of the same thing where he has a knee down, and he's in the process of bringing the ball to his chest, and so they call him down by contact. And then in the Chicago Bears-Rams game, there's a moment where Davante Adams, it was almost, when you freeze the frame, the Davante Adams catch and the Brandon Cooks interception look almost identical, but one was ruled a catch and one was ruled an interception. And so what a lot of people are kind of griping at is just the lack of consistency in the NFL, is that you've got two that were ruled as a catch, and then number 3 ended up being ruled an interception. And that was a game-defining moment because, Brandon Cooks catches that, they're in field goal range, game is essentially over.
Yeah, and, at the end of the day, the Broncos walk out of there with the win. Someone who does not walk out of there, apparently, is Bo Nix, who supposedly breaks his ankle at the end of the game, but is walking around fine after the game, post-game, walking around the field like nothing's wrong. Sean Payton comes out during his presser and says Bo Nix is out for the season, going to need surgery on his ankle that he fractured during the game somehow. And so the Broncos will be starting Jared Stidham as his 5th NFL start next week in the AFC Championship game. I don't think it's going to be like that bad. I think Sean Payton really likes Stidham. He's kept him on the roster for a long time as the backup now. He's going to be like kind of a Cooper Rush situation where he knows the system really well at this point. I think he'll do okay. I don't know if they're going to win, obviously, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout on the Patriots side. But I think for me, that the speculation would be that Bo Nix broke his ankle celebrating in the locker room, because there's no way he broke it on the field. Just didn't see
That's what we were talking about after the game. They kept saying it was on the second to last play of the game, and I'm just looking and I can't see what's going on. I keep seeing clips on Twitter, but it looks like he gets up and is walking around fine. They go the next play and he takes a kneel down or something like that, and then he's up and walking around when the game is over.
He does an interview.
They all converge at the middle of the field, and then he's walking off to the locker room, and then all of a sudden he's needing surgery, which means it's
season-ending,
serious injury. I just don't feel like if it was that serious on the play that it happened, that he wouldn't be able to just
Wouldn't you need
around.
Help getting off the field at that point? Like, questionable injury.
Maybe he tweaked it just a little bit during the game, because you do see him, I guess, kind of get up and limp a little bit, but then it had to have been something in a celebration in the locker room or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyways, though, Jared Stidham at the quarterback for the Broncos next week in the AFC Championship game. The Bills fall yet again. Like we said before, this seemed like their season to do it. They didn't get it done, and Sean McDermott gets fired. So, I think that's tough for Sean McDermott, but he hasn't been able to get him to the big game for about 5 years straight now, when they've had pretty good teams. But regardless, moving on to Texans Patriots, and just, I would say neither offense played that great, but both defenses really came to play. We know the Texans are generational defense, and they did everything they could, but CJ Stroud made sure to give the ball back to the Patriots every time the offense had the ball. I don't know if I've seen that bad quarterback play in the playoffs ever. I mean, that was pathetic from CJ Stroud. Just could not complete a pass to his own team. I don't know what they're going to do about CJ Stroud. He seems to be regressing every year since his rookie season, but he wasted a generational defense from the Texans this year.
I mean, he went from offensive rookie of the year to becoming just this, I don't even know what you would call it, because he straight up sold the Texans season, if you ask me. Because, I mean,
yeah,
they had the best defense in the NFL. I mean, they got a they got a gift in the first round of playing the Steelers. Yes, it was the Steelers at home, and they'd never lost Monday night, yada, yada, yada type deal. But, I mean, they just did not look – the Steelers were not a threat. Everyone knew that. Aaron Rodgers, I just didn't have much gas in the tank. Offense just wasn't good enough, and they go out, and they just look horrible. Even offensively, last week they were terrible, but the Steelers were worse. And then this week – it's just absolutely abysmal. I mean, it looks like he has no idea what he's doing. He cannot make a decision to save his life, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with CJ Stroud, but at some point I honestly thought they should put Davis Mills in the game just because CJ Stroud was looking that bad. Drake May and the Patriots offense got it done when they needed to get it done. Insane catch from Keyshawn Boutte to seal the deal for the Patriots. And, the Patriots have been playing good ball this season, whether or not they're schedule merchants. They're winning the games that they're supposed to win. They can't control really who they play. But, I love what Mike Vrabel's done with the team and the culture that they've put in. Drake May, great quarterback, and he could win the MVP this year. So we'll see the 1 and 2 seeds meet up in the AFC. And then the Chicago Bears versus the Rams game was shaping up to be a great game all week. This is probably the game that everyone was looking forward to the most. And, it turned out to be pretty good. Both defenses really showed up to play. And then at the end of the day, the Rams won it in overtime, but great game from both defenses and both teams.
I mean, it's kind of similar to the Broncos-Bills game where you see a late interception in overtime end up costing the other team the game. The Bears get a stop on defense, and so and then they go for it on fourth down as well, and then they get it, and then Caleb Williams,
the most insane play ever.
Yeah,
on fourth and goal.
It went down as a 16. It was like a 16-yard touchdown pass. Actually, let me look at it real quick.
But it was more like a 50-yard.
It was a 14-yard touchdown pass. But if you look, he threw it from like the 40 or something like that.
Backpedaling off his back foot,
going backwards they called it like a fadeaway,
Yeah.
or whatever, which is essentially what it was. Just throws up a prayer to Cole Kmet, who finds himself wide open in the corner.
The cornerback played. I mean,
people are trying to
some of the worst
call
coverage
it a push off. I mean, there was clear hand fighting. I mean, he just had one arm on him, and he just pulled.
I think the corner just ran forward.
He might have misread it or something. I mean, I don't know, or was trying to sell the OPI. But I mean, in a situation like that, you can't do that. And they had an opportunity to win it in overtime, but somewhat of a miscommunication, I guess, between Caleb Williams and DJ Moore. On a route where he thought DJ Moore was going to maybe keep running or something, but DJ Moore wasn't looking, and so he just slings it out to the middle of the field, throws a pick, and then that essentially ended the game because the Rams would drive down the field, kick a field goal.
Yeah. We've been pretty hard on Caleb Williams on our show, but he played a really good end of the season. He showed a lot of promise this season, and I think a lot of that credit goes to Ben Johnson, who has the Bears going in the right direction. Winning the NFC North. They're not an embarrassment this year. That was a hard-fought game against a really good Rams team. And at the end of the day, Matt Stafford getting the ball, and driving down the field, they did the same thing at Carolina. They are a team to be reckoned with just because they have number 9. And, he's just getting better with age, it seems like. Just every year he's having a better year than the last one. And he's the other MVP candidate. I don't know who's going to get it. It's pretty even between him and Drake May. But, I just think the Rams really showed a lot of resilience. Their defense stepped up just when it seemed like the Bears were just going to walk down and kick a field goal because they weren't getting any stops. But, I think that the Rams-Seahawks matchup will be a great NFC Championship game, divisional round in Seattle with that loud stadium. Chicago Stadium, very hard to play in, and the Rams showed that they could handle it. I like the matchup coming up in the NFC Championship.
Snow game was what sent the Rams home last year, but it was nice to see them compete and win in the snow this year. For whatever reason, age does not seem to faze Matthew Stafford. He's playing. I don't think he's going to win MVP this season. It'll probably go to Drake May. But with that being said, he's playing MVP caliber football. He made a very strong case to get that award, and he may get it. I don't know who it's going to go to. But with that being said, he has been just a menace, a field general for the offense of the Rams. Him and Puka Nacua have this insane chemistry, and he's they've got Kyron Williams, who had himself a great game too, ran 2 touchdowns in. And that defense is just a force to be reckoned with, coming up with multiple turnovers in that game and then getting one in the clutch to ultimately give Matt Stafford the ball back so they could drive down and kick a field goal. And Harrison Mevis was their kicker. And he's not super duper special, but
they call him the thicker kicker.
Interesting story there because
UFL?
Out of
Birmingham.
I don't remember where he went to college, actually.
Yeah.
They said it, but I forgot it. But anyways, that was a position that they struggled with, and he's been lights out for them, kicking a clutch 40-something yarder to win the game.
Yep.
To the NFC Championship, where they will go to Seattle and have to that'll be a good defensive matchup, and we'll see who comes out on top of that one.
Yep, and we'll be here to bring it to you after the fact, like we always do.
AFC Championship will be interesting. Obviously, it's unfortunate that we are having to watch a backup quarterback, but, who knows? We've seen backup quarterbacks go and win a Super Bowl, so not saying it's going to happen, but there's that. You run that possibility. Does Jarrett Stidham put together 2 MVP performances and win the Super Bowl?
I think it'll be a good matchup, personally. I think it's not – I don't think it's your classic backup quarterback scenario. I just feel like, Sean Payton, he's a system guy. Who knows if Bo Nix is just benefiting from the system? And Jarrett Stidham knows his system really well. And so I think they're going to set him up for the best chance of success.
And not saying it's just 2 games, because this is the AFC Championship.
They have no tape on
Super Bowl, but it's not like you have to put together an entire,
Yeah.
You just have to put together 2 games with this guy.
Right.
And you've got good enough weapons around him. You've got a good defense. Not saying it can't be done, but I don't think it's completely the end of the world. Obviously, you're in the AFC Championship, so you want to give yourself the best chance you can, but, you could be in a lot worse position. But, anyways, we'll see how it goes. Here's like to end our shows on Under Review. Brought to you a quote from the Tim Duncan. Became the mantra of the Chicago Bears, but it is going back to Tim Duncan because he was the originator of this quote, and obviously the Bears are out of the NFL playoffs, and he said, "Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best."
Ain't that the truth? Thanks for tuning in next week. Thanks for tuning in this week. We will see you next week. Another episode of Under Review.